Welcome to This Explainer. I'm really thrilled you're joining me today because we're going to dive into the invisible systems that literally govern our daily work lives. I'm talking about physical access control. Think about it. We walk through doors every single day, right? We swipe a badge, we punch in a code, and we just don't give it a second thought. But behind that one simple action is this fascinating, highly orchestrated architecture. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how modern entry systems protect people, assets, and data. It's all about turning a simple doorway into a tightly managed workflow. Let's get into it. Picture this. It's exactly 8:03 a.m. on a Monday morning. Down at the front door, staff are rapidly arriving for their shifts. Contractors are hanging out in the lobby waiting for approval. A courier is trying to get into the loading bay to drop off a package. And, somewhere across town, a former employee still has an active keycard just sitting in their desk drawer. In that exact moment, a door tells the absolute truth about a company's operations. Physical access control is the discipline that decides which of those movements becomes a smooth, authorized entry and which one gets stopped in its tracks. And this brings us to the ultimate test of your building's security. It's a question you really have to ask yourself. Can you explain every open door in the building? Sounds super simple, right? But as we're going to see today, modern entry control isn't just about slapping a heavy deadbolt on a frame. It's actually a complex ecosystem. It joins reception, HR, IT, cameras, alarms, and audit records into one massive, cohesive rulebook. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, What Doors Tell Us. Let's break down that split-second decision we all take for granted. It kicks off when a user presents a credential. Now, that could be a physical badge, a phone, a PIN, or maybe even a face scan. Instantly, the access control system checks the rulebook. It asks, does this person have the right to be here, right now? And finally, the system acts. It either physically opens a barrier or it flat out refuses entry. If it refuses, it might log the event, trigger an alert, or ask for more proof. It's this continuous rapid-fire conversation happening between the hardware and the software. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that modern access control isn't just a lock. It actively links four distinct elements together. It connects a specific person, a precise physical space, a granted permission, and a very specific moment in time. If literally any one of those variables is off, like say the person is right, but the moment is midnight on a Sunday and they definitely shouldn't be there, boom, that door stays locked. Moving right along to Section 2, Evolving Past the Key. Now, mechanical locks obviously still work, and physical brass keys are undeniably cheap to make. But they travel totally under the radar without any sort of report, and they pose a massive risk when somebody inevitably copies them. Digital and mobile credentials, on the other hand, solve these problems beautifully. They offer quick revocation, meaning if someone loses a card, access can be canceled instantly over the cloud. Plus, they generate detailed audit trails linked directly to a named user. And mobile credentials, they take those entry rights and move them to a device people are already carrying in their pockets, which is honestly perfect for today's hybrid teams. You'll notice how different signals serve very specific security needs, and they reflect different levels of risk and budget. For instance, a standard badge proves assigned permission. That's great for general offices and floors. A PIN proves knowledge, which is super helpful for something like a staff-only break room. A QR code is fantastic for guests and events because it proves a visit was actually approved ahead of time. But look at biometrics. Biometrics prove an exact person match. It connects entry to the actual human being, not just some borrowed object they're holding. That makes it absolutely ideal for highly restricted zones. Though, as our source points out, things like privacy, consent, and data storage absolutely must be designed first before you go rolling out biometrics. All right, Section 3, the value of certainty. A well-designed system gives leaders total certainty. The real value isn't just that plastic card reader sitting on the wall. It's the operational benefits. We're talking stronger protection for everything from stockrooms and server rooms to highly restricted work zones. We get totally clear accountability after an incident. So instead of relying on human memory or those messy, unreadable paper sign-in sheets, security teams can reconstruct a perfect second-by-second timeline of who entered where and when. It makes compliance audits incredibly fast. And crucially, it dramatically reduces insider risk. You see, a lot of security gaps happen just because permissions outlive an employee's role. Good access control fixes that entirely, allowing for confident, centralized management, even if you're managing multiple sites and campuses across the country. Let's look at Section 4, Fixing the Weakest Links. Now, the weak link is almost always the human process, not the actual hardware. Most failures start out as incredibly small, mundane habits. You know the ones. Somebody props a side door open with a rock so they can grab a coffee. Two coworkers share a card. Old user profiles just sit in the system for years. Or there are exceptions that nobody actively owns anymore. The absolute biggest challenge is balancing security with user convenience. Think about it. If entry is too slow, people are going to find a workaround. But if it's too loose, well, risk just walks right in through the front door. Good design is strict where it absolutely needs to be and almost entirely invisible everywhere else. 31%. I want you to really think about that number. According to Verizon's 2026 Data Breach Investigations Report, 31% of breaches now start with software vulnerabilities, and that completely changes how we need to view physical doors. Those card readers and controllers, they are connected to your network. If your vendors aren't being reviewed and software patches aren't being applied, a vulnerability in your physical security system can literally become a gateway for a massive digital data breach.
Next up, Section 5, When Systems Talk.
System integration is a real game changer. It turns separate, isolated door events into a complete operating picture. When you connect access control to your HR systems, new hires seamlessly get access on day one. And even more importantly, when people leave the company, they lose their access right on time, with zero missteps. Integrating with video surveillance means that instead of digging through loose, untethered video clips, your investigators get a concrete timeline tied directly to badge swipes. Now, integrating with fire alarm systems, that is absolutely non-negotiable. Safety overrides must always come first so that no security rule ever traps people inside during an emergency. And finally, connecting all this to building management systems means your building can actually react to occupancy. It can automatically adjust energy use and comfort based on who is actually inside the building at any given time. As we start to wrap this explainer up, I want you to consider this really powerful paradigm shift straight from our source material. Quote, "Physical access control is not the art of saying no, it is the discipline of knowing why yes is safe." I just love that. It isn't about creating roadblocks or barriers to frustrate your employees. It's actually about building a smoothly managed workflow that allows your business to happen efficiently and securely. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative question to ask yourself about your own workplace. To truly ensure your entryways are safe and to know exactly what your doors are telling you, can you successfully map these 5 things? The people, the places, the permissions, the exceptions, and the evidence for every single open door? If you can't quite map all 5 of those just yet, will you now know exactly where to start looking? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer on modern physical access control. Keep an eye on those everyday systems around you, and as always, stay curious.